Um, so, so I smoked pot for the first time. Went and saw the movie Tommy against my dad's wishes. He apparently understood what it was about and absolutely forbade me to go see the movie. So naturally, me and a couple of other guys went. Guy's name was Manuel Rios, was my dad's friend, and his Ruben Rios took me. Manuel's younger nephew, I believe. Uh, and we went and saw Tommy at the theater. And so that kind of introduced me to at least having an open mind about psychedelics or whatever. Um, I really enjoyed the lifestyle there that my dad lived. I met this girl, and of course, it being 11 years old, but it's still, her name was Kim Schaefer, and Kim was so pretty, and just we understood each other, and it was, I can't even describe it to you. Um, but anyway, uh, so I thought I was in love with this girl, and I didn't want to, I was having good times there in California with my dad. Well, he came to me one day. I had started school, and I think I had gotten in a fight or something like that. As a matter of fact, I know I did. And my dad had to come down to the school. And so, anyway, he had this Cuban girlfriend, Rosa, who didn't like me. And she had a daughter who we didn't get along at all. Um, well, my dad comes to me and he says, look, your mom called me and she said, I have to send you back to Phoenix. And I don't have a choice in the matter. And if I don't send you back, she's going to call the law on me. Oh, I got mad at my mom. I didn't want to go back to, I wanted to be with my dad. So I get back to Phoenix, flew back. I remember getting off the airplane and saying to my mom, this is back before they had jetways, and she was waiting for me down there. We walked down the steps, or I, walked down the steps, and I walked up to her and I said, I'm going to be the worst child ever until you send me back to live with my father. Well, see, I'll tell you now, I didn't find this out till I was 22 or 23 years old. My mom finally told me. That wasn't what happened. What happened was Rosa went to my father and said, either you send Kevin back to live with his mother or I'm going to leave you. So my dad called my mom and said, look, I got to send Kevin back to Phoenix. So he comes and tells me this lie about my mom, gets me all riled up about my mom. I get to Phoenix and my mom, bless her heart, she takes the heat for it for years. She took, I was a pretty out of control kid starting from that point forward. I started smoking pot fairly regularly, I started smoking cigarettes. I was even drinking a little bit, but not enough to really even write home about, I suppose. But I essentially stopped trying in school. I started getting in a lot of fights in school, and was basically a really horrible kid. My grandparents offered to take me and adopt me and send me to private school, challenged my mind. And both me and my mom said no. That was the biggest mistake I ever made, right there. I mean, from a standpoint of a changing point in my life, if my grandparents would have adopted me and sent me to private school and on to, college and whatnot, I would have probably become a Mason, and I probably, would have really been an upstanding citizen. I would have probably become a doctor, and but that's not what happened. That's not what happened, and nothing I can do about that now. Um, so from this period of time from when I was 11 till I was 15, uh, I mean, this was just turmoil. It was utter turmoil. My mom had divorced Dave. Phil was living in our house. He's only 10 years older than me. I was 11 and highly alert, very sharp for an 11-year-old. I knew what was up. Um, Phil was 21 years old. I mean, this guy 10 years older than me is not going to tell me how to live my life. And especially because of the attitudes and whatnot about my dad being, my dad was a biker and, whatnot. And, I said, my dad will come over here and kick your ass. You can't tell me what to do. That's the kind of attitude I had. And I was horrible. I didn't try in school. I got caught stealing, shoplifting, I ended up in 7th grade, I ended up getting kicked out of the Creighton School District. They didn't know what to do with me. I was on this automatic suspension thing in 6th grade, I guess, where they could, there was like the innumerable infractions, and if I broke any one of them, the teacher, all they had to do was just write this piece of paper, and I was suspended for 3 days. So at the end of my 6th grade year, they invited me to not come back to their school district anymore. So I went to a place called Devereaux Day School. Today, Devereaux, I believe they exist. I mean, I know, I looked it up on the internet. I doubt they operate the way they did. They had these like timeout rooms where they were dark, and they would throw you in this room, like 3x3 room, for hours and hours and hours on end. And they would, grab you by your hair and throw you in there if necessary. And they would physically abuse us and mentally abuse us and whatnot. And did we need our asses kicked a certain amount? Yeah, because a lot of us were pretty bad kids, myself included. But I'll tell you one thing I did do. One of the things at Devereaux was they let you work at your own pace. They tested you at your academic levels, math, science, English, whatever. So they start you at whatever level you're at, and then they give you these workbooks and whatnot, and they just work at your own pace. I blew them out. I finished my high school requirements in 7th grade for everything. I'm going to stop this right now, and then we'll start up here tomorrow.